All right. So I think touching base on Roy's students, right, who are currently what they call doing chocolate cakes, which is renovation flips, right? A lot of them, the leads are kind of going to waste because we got to find the exact model, but that's because they're looking at it from a professional renovator's point of view. What would your solution be in terms of this? Because I mean, the time it takes for an average student to profit.
Deals are not made. Sorry, deals are not already there. They're created. Most people don't understand this. People look for a bargain. There is no such thing as a bargain. Bargains are created. They're not lying on the sidewalk for everybody to go out and scoop up a bucket full of bargains. That's in fact, you can record this because I'm going to tell you, if it's not recording, most people go out looking for a bargain. And opportunities are created. They're not normally lying on the sidewalk.
No.
So when people go in and say, I've got to get to fit this model, no, it's trying to get the key.
The other way around.
What you got to do is you got to blend it and mold it to fit the model. Do you understand? So what happens is, what I'm telling you today is how you blend and mold things to fit the model. Yeah. And that becomes the bargain. Does that make sense?
Got you.
Okay.
Got you.
So it's not going to be there sitting. If you're trying to look for the perfect thing sitting on the ground, it could take years and years and years for you to do a transaction.
Yeah. So that's where I was kind of getting a little frustrated, is that it's going to take me 6 to 12 months to try and make a cookie cutter deal.
You won't find it. It's being created.
So how do we, because there's opportunities within the student base.
Yes.
Lots of them are hunting for at least 50 units.
You should be recording this.
Yeah, I'm recording this.
Okay, good. Okay, let me give you an analogy, right? Somebody called me just recently and they said, I'm going to sell me 5 apartments in London for 2.5 million. Okay. And she said, there's only one way you can buy it. It's this way. It's not a way I want to buy it. Now, looking on the formula of, I'd go, okay, well, therefore, that's no bargain. Go on to the next one. Go on to the next one. Go on to the next one. Now, over a few days of staying with that one, it's now molded itself to become a bargain. Do you understand? So by changing the parameters and doing some various things in the construction of the conversation over the last few days, the seller has now changed the parameters under which I can buy it. Now it becomes the bargain. So now I can make payments on it for 60 months. I don't have to find 2.5 million. I can make payments on it to 60 months. I've broken the 5 units into 5 individual sets of payments. Yep. And now that I have control of those 5 individual sets of payments, I can sell those to other people for a profit. So something that was not a bargain becomes a bargain. So the negotiation process between 2 people takes something that is not a bargain to a bargain. I talk to her like boy meets girl. You meet a girl, she won't go out with you. Well, some guys will just go, okay, I'll go to the next girl. I'll go to the next girl. I'll go to the next girl. Some guys will go, you know what, I think it's more exciting to put this person in a position where they just want to go out with me. And that becomes the excitement. You get the person to actually end up wanting to go out with you.
Interesting.
Right.
Okay.
So, but you'll never find, if you start looking for this perfect renovation or whatever, you will never find it, or you'll find it once a year, and you can't do business that way.
Okay.
Everything's created.
Yep. So in terms of like, I'm going to try and start this one again. Just because like I can see like someone who's watching this, they would sort of get confused over that previous skit. So I'm thinking, you know how we had that conversation, right?
Which one?
About the renovation flips.
Yes.
And we were talking about how people don't value their time. So you've got the professional renovators, and then you've got mum and dad renovators.
Yes.
And the opportunity is lost because we're looking at it as a professional renovator's point of view.
Yep.
But we don't actually have to go and renovate, but we want to sell the opportunity for renovation to mums and dads renovators. That's the kind of point I wanted to get across, so that I can take this video.
Well, the easiest way to get that across is this: when you're doing a renovation, it has a cost basis. A renovation costs a certain amount of money. Does that make sense?
That's right.
Okay, but if you look at the total cost of a renovation, 1/3 is parts and 2/3 is labour. Mum and dad don't value their labour. Therefore, they'll do their labour for free. So if you let mum and dad do the renovation, they only see the renovation as actually costing them 1/3 because the other 2/3 they're putting in themselves. Does that make sense? So a professional company might say, we'll charge you 50,000 for the renovation. You go to mum and dad, hey, say, mum and dad, do you want to do this renovation? They'll see it as a $15,000 renovation. And they'll see that they've just saved $35,000 by doing it themselves.
Fuck, that's brilliant. Yeah, I definitely think that we could utilize that in the system that we've got, because it's so many properties that go to waste.
So many. So here's the thing. If you said to mum and dad, hey, mum and dad, this is a $50,000 renovation, but if you think you can do it yourself and save some money, I can take it off the price. Mum and dad are thinking, we're getting 50,000 off the price by doing it ourselves, but it's only actually costing us 15. So we're actually saving $35,000.
So within the program, we're supposed to do like this feasibility
Yes.
feasibility study, or what's called Da Vinci, right? And how do you, like, is there some sort of liability there if you sell them the idea of the renovation? Where do you, so of course you've got to sort of be careful with trying to sell them a dream that they can't enact.
Don't let them do plumbing. Don't let them do electrical. And
Okay.
don't let them do foundation. Foundation work, you do that first. Okay. Mum and dad can do what's called a cosmetic renovation. Right? But don't get them to do plumbing. Don't get them to do electricity. And don't get them to do a foundation if it's got foundation issues.
Okay.
You
So
fix that stuff ahead of time.
would we still provide the idea, like the feasibility? Well, so let's say, for example, we've done the feasibility for a professional renovation.
Yep.
And then we've gone, okay, this professional renovation doesn't work, but can we take the professional renovation and go, so this is what it would cost us normally, but if you as a mum and dad take this renovation minus the labor costs, what can you guys do? Could you
correct.
take that?
You take it to them. Yeah, you bet. Take it to them. So let me ask you something. This is what we're going to spend on this building. $60,000. There it is. I'm thinking we don't spend this money, but we somehow give you a discount on the property. In return, why don't you look at what you can do yourself to save some money? And then they will look at all the items and say, oh, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. Okay. Now, when they realize how much they can do,
And
you
then they can see
say-
how much they can make too.
correct. It's not only how much can they do, it's how much can they make.
Yeah.
Now, mum and dad see it's not about what they're doing, it's about how much they're making.
Yeah.
Now, here's the point. If mum and dad are making that much money, and because they're doing it,
Yeah.
right? How much are you? What are you doing? What do you actually have to do?
Nothing, just
Nothing.
providing the transaction.
Nothing. Now, here's the other issue people don't understand. When people renovate a house and then they sell a house to somebody else renovate it, they say, okay, so I'm going to renovate a house. In 30% of times, the new buyer does what to the renovation?
So say that again, run the back again.
You renovate a house.
Yeah, renovate a house.
You
Yeah.
sell it to Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah.
You've just spent 6 months renovating it.
Yeah.
You spent a fortune renovating it.
They end up just like sitting in it.
Sorry?
They end up just living in it.
Yeah, and what do 30% of those people do who bought that house from you?
They don't do it.
And this is why you haven't been in this game long enough. 30% of the people will not like the renovation you did and they'll redo it. They'll rip out the carpets and put in the hardwood floors. If they had hardwood floors, they'll put in the carpet. If you put in white floor walls, they'll put in blue
Yeah, of
walls.
course, because it's their own taste.
Correct.
Right.
They will put their taste on your renovation and pretty well change a lot of your renovation at their expense because it's not. You see, what you've done is by doing the renovation, you're dictating your taste on
Onto
someone else.
them.
That's like me telling you what you should wear. Oh, by the way, Chris, before you go out today, you'll wear these pants and you'll wear this shirt and that color.
Oh, you're making the product before someone comes,
Yes.
and
So
then
what happens is
yeah.
you're trying to dictate to somebody else what their taste should be. What a stupid way to do business.
Okay,
Right?
gotcha. Yeah,
and
exactly.
then
That's
30% of
true.
those people come in and spend a whole fortune trying to get it back to their taste.
Yeah.
Why would you go through that ancient, outdated process
Yeah.
rather than saying, sir, I've got an opportunity for you right now. Yes? Okay. How about we turn my house into your home? I got the house, let's turn it into your home. But you know what? How about you do it, not me? And that way it can reflect your quality taste, not mine. What do you think Mrs. Smith will say every single time?
Shit, yeah.
You betcha. I want my taste in this house. I don't want that man telling me what I should live in.
Yeah, exactly. Trends move all the time.
Yeah.
In different in different
And if you
directions.
get this, you'll find it's an incredibly popular strategy. And many people will call you up and say, can we get what Mary and John got?
So I got a question here. What's the possible profitability here in terms of someone who's a transaction engineer, just putting the deal together
Yeah.
and without doing the, the
Let me sum it up this way. called Jovan Sarai. He's a barrister, 7 years university. How do you think he paid for 7 years university to become a barrister?
House flipping like this.
The strategy, that's all he ever did.
Mm. So what's the profit margin?
By
Like,
the
let's
way,
say, for example, market price.
Today he lives in Darling Point. Have you ever heard of Darling Point?
Yep.
Most expensive city in Australia.
Yeah.
Town, suburb in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
You know how he got there?
Yeah.
Strategy, I'm telling you right now.
Okay. Gotcha.
But maybe it doesn't work.
Mm. So we know it works,
Yeah.
right? In terms of like a technical
By the
question.
way, you just said we know it works.
Yeah.
Why did you say that?
Well, because you've said there's
I
proof.
said,
You've proved the
no,
state.
I didn't say that. In actual fact, if you think about what I just said,
Yeah.
I went straight into your subconscious mind. I said, because we know it doesn't work. Now, as soon as I said that, your subconscious took the opposite position and came out and said, well, we know it works.
Yeah.
But you aren't even consciously aware of what I just said. So that's how, when you speak to the subconscious mind, I can control the conscious. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because
Gotcha.
I wanted you to believe it works, but I
Yep.
didn't try to say to you, it works. I told you, in actual fact, it doesn't work. Which you then bounced back with, well, so we know it works.
Yeah.
I only want to make that point to show how powerful it can be when you understand subliminal
Negotiation.
science.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay, keep going. What were you saying?
Brilliant. So, okay, in terms of like the technical question here is, right, if a house is worth, let's say, $300,000, so it's on the market for $300,000, or
Correct.
it hasn't sold at that price, right? And we go on to on-sell the opportunity. What is the profit margin, or what is the price that, the rule of thumb in terms of selling the property? Is it still 10%, or is it more,
Yeah, so
or is it
normally what
less?
I'll do is, now, rule of thumb is this. Mum and dad have to say that if they're going to do the renovation themselves, they have to see 3 times more profit than what they spent. So let's say they're
3 times
spending
more.
$15,000 hard cash in materials to
Yep.
do the renovation. They need to see a profit of 45,000. Okay. So
Right.
forget about, so let's say the whole renovation, you get a quote for 50 grand. They don't need to see a profit of 150 grand. They've got to see the profit of 3 times what they spent.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah, exactly. As long as the number's well above what they spend,
Yeah.
then
So
they're
if
happy.
if it's 3 times what they spend, then they'll do it. Because in their own mind, they've got to go, why would I do this?
Exactly.
And they do this, and the magic formula is because they make 3 times back than what they spent.
Gotcha. All right, brilliant. I think that's